Did you know there are tricks capable of waking up a fruit tree that refuses to bear fruit? Well, today I'm going to share with you three ancient techniques that have been used for many years and that you most likely didn't know about. Look at this lemon tree. For how small it is, look at how heavily loaded it is. Look at how incredible that is. And look at this grapefruit tree. Look at how it's coming along. Well, we apply techniques like the ones I'm going to show you today to these little trees. And the best part is that you'll be able to do it with things we have at home. It's done very quickly and anyone can do it. Pay attention because we are starting with the first method. The first method is probably one of the most curious and effective of all. And the only thing we are going to do is make a small window in the branch. We are going to need a sharp knife and we are going to make a small cut on the branch. This will cause exactly that, a small, controlled wound. There's no need to go too deep or destroy the branch. If the branch is thicker, we make a larger window or cut so that the effect is proportional. On smaller trees like this one, a small wound like the one I'm going to show you now is more than enough. Now we simply take the knife and make that small window of about 2 centimeters. Like this. Well, once the cut is made, the bark and part of the cambium have been removed. Once we have made that cut and have it well prepared, this is also very important. This is not done on the entire tree. You can do it only on some branches or at most on 50% of the tree. Remember that these are very ancient techniques. This is nothing new and it is more than proven to work wonderfully. And what will this small wound or window we've made cause? Well, this will cause a small, controlled stress on the tree. The tree will interpret that damage as an alert signal and activate a physiological survival response. And what does the tree try to do when it feels that? Well, it will try to reproduce. And that is exactly why we do these types of techniques, to greatly maximize blooming and subsequently the amount of fruit production. Now, once we have made the window, what we are simply going to use is a piece of aloe vera. Although this is not mandatory, it is highly recommended. We cut it in half vertically and stick all the gel over the wound. Then we simply secure it with a string, twine, or even a couple of zip ties. Don't worry about the ties because over time, they will end up falling off on their own. The interesting thing here is that during those days, the aloe vera keeps the area hydrated, protected, and covered to greatly reduce the risk of fungi or any type of infection. And now let's move on to the second method. And this method was used a lot to greatly stimulate blooming, just like the previous method, except this one has a bonus. It's a little more radical, and the only thing we are going to need is a piece of wire. It can be a regular, ordinary wire like this one. And doing it is very simple. The only thing we are going to do is wrap it several times around the branch, leaving approximately 1 centimeter of separation between each turn. Like this. If the branch is thicker, we simply use more wire and do the process according to the size of the branch. On small branches, something like this is more than enough. Once we have it in place, simply as the branch grows and thickens, we will see how this small wire applies a certain amount of pressure, and consequently, this will activate a physiological survival response, and the tree will try to reproduce. And that is exactly why this simple method can greatly improve blooming and subsequently the amount of fruit. And remember, it's not about completely strangling the branch. It's simply about slightly hindering or reducing the circulation of sap. That will give the tree a little wake-up call. And of course, something else that is very important. We are not going to leave this on forever. We simply leave it until that tree that didn't want to bear fruit starts to develop flowers. Once the tree has woken up, we remove the wire, and that's it. And now let's go with the third method. And this is probably one of the most curious and ancient of all, because in this case, we are not going to make cuts, nor are we going to use wire. The only thing we are going to do is slightly force the opening of some branches. And doing it is very simple. We simply grab a part of the branch and slowly bend it downwards until we feel a little tension. Like this. And as seen in the video, by helping ourselves with several screws placed on the edge of the pot, we can perfectly bend the branches using a string or twine to maintain that constant tension. And if we work directly in the ground, we do exactly the same thing, but using a stake, an iron rod, or a piece of rebar driven into the ground to then secure the string and keep that branch bent downwards. The important thing here is to maintain that small, constant tension so that the method works correctly. And what happens when we do this? Well, exactly the same as in the previous methods. In this case, by tensioning the branch, this will trigger an alert signal for the tree, and as a result, it responds by blooming, producing a greater amount of flowers, and therefore we will have a greater amount of fruit, which is exactly what this video is about. And I also wanted to give you a little bonus because it is honestly very much worth it. People who have lived in the countryside their whole lives have always had better results when these techniques are applied during a full moon. It is believed that during this phase, the sap is much more active in the aerial part of the tree, and normally the tree's response tends to be much stronger, and therefore the success rate is usually much higher. And remember that just like in the previous methods, this is not about leaving the branches forced forever. The goal here is to induce the tree or cause a small localized damage to let that tree that didn't want to bear fruit know that it has to start working. Once the tree starts to bloom and produce, we completely remove all the strings or methods we were using, and that's it. So now you have three tremendously simple and effective techniques using things you probably already have at home and that have been used for many years by our grandparents. The days of having trees that refuse to bear fruit in our garden or orchard are over. With these three methods, you will be able to achieve exactly that. Wake up that fruit tree and make it start producing much more. And if you want to continue learning more techniques, tricks, and methods like this, simply subscribe to the channel because we constantly share videos very similar to this one. I would also really love it if you told me in the comments where you are watching us from, and especially which tree you are having trouble with, because I read absolutely every single one of you, and often the next videos come exactly from your comments. And of course, if you can, like this video and share it with someone who loves garden plants or fruit trees as much as you do. And stay tuned because many more are coming. If these ancestral techniques have changed the way you look at the trees in your orchard, make sure to subscribe and like the channel. We are rescuing the secrets of the earth that many have tried to forget. Cultivate your future with us. Nature's next treasure will be revealed very soon.